new job and me trying to get this channel off the ground after all these years by being consistent, I told myself the last thing I needed was some game that could potentially sink all my rare free time. And here we are with a game that's been eating away at my life, Dicey Dungeon, developed by one TreyGamr58 crew. It's a somewhat recent title, releasing in August with Switch and mobile ports coming out likely early next year. I saw Snowman Gaming's video on it and its interesting core mechanics, which got it on my radar, and I also recently saw Vinesauce Vinny's streams of it, which pushed me over the edge to get it. Anyways, I hope I can turn into something productive, so here's hopefully a quick video on it. Yes, a quick look, and the script snowballed into 3 pages, so I guess recent review. Looking at it and its dice block characters, you can probably already smell the rank RNG that might be at play here.
I lost the run to RNG, dude!
Well, yes and no. It's a deck building roguelike dungeon crawler. Sort of like that one game, Slave Aspire, but more straightforward, and with single enemy turn-based battles where dice are rolled and used to activate equipment. Now, yes, the dice rolling is the main thing that's random in this game, but it's less hoping for the best rolls and more so using what you've been given as efficiently and as optimally as possible. Most equipment don't even want high rolls. Maybe they have a cap, or are looking for evens or odds, or a specific die, or will accept any die, or actually count down to the ability. Equipment can deal damage, inflict a status effect, or both. Status effects are huge in this game, so get familiar with those early on. Poison can really mess people up. Equipment can increase your overheal like shield or just heal. They may do something to change the die you got, like increasing or decreasing its value, doubling it, splitting it, rerolling it, or giving you more of them. Not to mention whatever your character's special ability is. Equipment can usually only be used once per turn unless said otherwise. Equipment is found in the dungeons randomly through chests and shops, or somewhat scripted events like when leveling up. And I swear, the second chest in every dungeon is character specific, but I can't confirm. You have to lay out your given loadouts to have good chemistry and cover any potential rolls you get. The most impactful determiner in the way you gotta play are the characters themselves. I'll go through them quickly. You got the warrior, who is the most simple and obvious to use. Roll big for big damage. If it ain't big, reroll till it is. Then there's the thief, who's for the opposite, going for low rolls for multiplying damage. You can also use your enemy's weapons against them. Everything after those two are way more complex, like the robot, who's heavily risk or reward, as he has this CPU gauge that goes up depending on your manually ordered rolls. You want to roll more so you can use your stuff, but if you roll too much, you'll overheat. But if you fill the gauge perfectly, jackpot. Here's a tip. When asked, choose Ultima weapon and try to get the gear that'll increase your jackpot range. Next, there's the inventor, who, after every battle, scraps a piece of equipment to make a gadget that you can use for free for the next battle. This one makes you more wary of your pre-planning and adds a lot more strategy for the whole dungeon. Moving away from the sciences, we got the witch, where you must sacrifice dice for equipment. She's the most complicated and difficult of all the dice characters, mostly because she kinda sucks. You have to spend your first couple of turns to setting everything up before actually doing out any big damage. But here's a hint, always have Magic Missile as a preload. And finally, there's the Jester, whose equipment acts like cards. Try to keep your deck as synergetic as possible or set up to get duplicates so you can Thanos snap to use them all for free. Each dice character has 6 episodes, so 36 in total. Now, at first, I thought the subsequent episodes were just going to be the same, but with harder enemies and longer dungeons, but the devs decided to keep things fresh by giving them each unique modifiers that'll have you changing the way you play. Maybe your duplicate rolls get eaten, maybe you go through equipment faster, maybe you level down with each level up so you gotta focus on shields, or maybe all the enemies have upgraded equipment. Maybe it could be the parallel universe episodes that have all new equipment, different loadouts for the enemies, and revamped status effects. Whatever the case, there's always something new to come back to, and if it can't be an episode, you can just play a different one and return to it, try it again later. So overall, this game has some solid and well-rounded mechanics to enjoy. The gameplay itself is reason enough to buy the game. It's also well-rounded in other areas too. One thing that keeps this game from getting stale is the soundtrack, because I need to emphasize this. The music be bumping. I usually never buy the soundtrack alongside the game, because if I wanted to listen to the music, I just look it up on YouTube, and if I need music for my reviews, I just rip it there. But I needed to give Chipzel the credit he deserves. This video wouldn't have been made if it wasn't for this soundtrack. This is like one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I almost want to say that they may have went overboard with it, because sometimes the basic battle music in this game sounds like the final level music in another. The game's visuals, some may not like this Tumblr-ish adorable art style, and I can understand that, but I personally like it. Though I still don't know if I like it or not. If you look closely, like the edges of all the graphics make it look like it was like drawn of crayon or chalk or something. It reminds me very much of OKKO, but without any outlines. It works well with the humorous world building and the cartoony character design. Bruh, why does this Socks Wizard sound like Yoda? Speaking of a story, it's not a focus here, but it unravels and progresses surprisingly smoothly. Contestants enter this game show hosted by Lady Luck, where they have to complete dungeons in order to achieve what their heart most desires. Infinite power, infinite money, infinite knowledge, a million Instagram followers, a monster truck maybe. Well, turns out this game is seriously rigged and that they're all trapped there forever, fighting for their lives or for a way out. Why is Lady Luck capturing people and keeping them in these labyrinths? I don't know, maybe it keeps her alive or something. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I'm betting that there's going to be an extra episode where you gotta fight Lady Luck as the final boss. Now, it's hard to find flaws with a game that makes and plays by its own rules, especially when they're so robust and well followed. But there are a few criticisms I'd like to bring up. When you try to click on some things, sometimes it won't, and you have to like click slightly above or something. I don't know, that's a technical error. When you're walking on the board, and you can't click somewhere else to cancel your command, so you're locked into whatever you've selected, even though it looks like there's a grace period. This glitch, yeah, try not to save during a battle. Now this is a major nitpick, but I wish there was like a green number that would come out of you whenever you cover hell. I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way that there isn't one. Just this tiny little animation. There are a lot of hidden mechanics that the game never tells you about, like how if you bump a 6, it'll give you like a separate 1 die, or if you throw a burning die as a witch, it'll do like 2 fire damage. It's fun to uncover them, but I wish there was some place that would inform you about these things. You know, some sort of glossary or something. This game feels like it needs more enemies, especially on different episodes, because yeah, they may act differently depending on the episode circumstances, but it still feels very samey. Like after a while, it just starts getting really repetitive. But hey, there's mod support if you want to add more. Also, delete the loud bird. Okay, not really, but still, I hate fighting him, and I hate his stupid bird face. Possibly the most fundamental flaw that I see brought up a lot is that, despite all the unique things, this game does feel really constrictive and repetitive. Like, it feels like there's no choice with you having to fall into a particular playstyle the character and episode demand. I both agree and disagree with this settlement. Disagree mostly on the playstyle. Like, sure, you start to feel comfortable with what you got and what you're getting, but there are shops and more items along the way that allow you to experiment. Like, check out this freaking broken setup I got at one point, thanks to me experimenting. Oh, I love it. The damage output is insane no matter what dice you use. What I do agree on is with the subject of choice and constriction, especially concerning the dungeon design. You are barely making strategic risk versus reward decisions in your exploration, as you're supposed to explore it all. You gotta defeat every single enemy, so why is there even randomization in the first place if there's barely any choice in the environment that you're put in? The only exceptions that I've experienced, at least, where there's actually strategy on the board is with the Inventor and that one episode where your max HP goes down as you level up. But yeah, the feel of risk and reward with your choices feel minuscule, and the random factors that happen in the dungeons just don't matter. Yeah, your semi-randomly gained equipment may be rely on specific dice rolls, but every episode plays the same. Like, another big factor, that random thing, is like what enemies you'll come across, but it doesn't matter. Like, there are no real surprises or special events, except for maybe like this one rare enemy, Cornelius or something, that acts like one big ticking time bomb. You get an achievement for that fight. That fight is actually really fun. When I think harder on it, this game's a lot like FTL, Faster Than Light, a game I have poured so many hours into, yet never actually beaten. You pick a ship and crew members, much like a character in Dicey Dungeons. You go from tile to tile. Your equipment is semi-random, but you gotta choose a loadout that synchronizes well. You gotta deal with enemies for their drops in the experience, and get ready for the boss that awaits you at the end. Thing is, FTL doesn't expect you to do everything its randomizer offers. Like, yeah, there's a danger wave on your tail at all times, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. There's interesting things you're going to come across on some playthroughs and not others, and sometimes you see something interesting, but you gotta judge whether or not it's worth getting. That's like one of the core things about roguelikes that people like, I think. Since Dicey Dungeons have you going through these dungeons so many times, having more rare, unique events, especially having to choose whether you want to attempt to get them or not, or activate them or something, those things would have been extremely beneficial to this game. If you're looking for a traditional roguelike, this is not it. This is more like an arcadey roguelike, if that makes any sense. It's like if Nintendo, like one of their EAD teams, tried to make a roguelike, since there's so much focus on the particular and unique mechanics rather than genre conventions, which honestly is not really that bad of a thing because the core gameplay is like extremely fleshed out. It's highly evident that they put a lot of effort into this game, and it feels like it paid off. Heck, they're even doing holiday updates with all new graphics, animated backgrounds, enemies, lines, and equipment. I feel like they could have directed this effort towards expanding the game more instead of just having it available for 1 week. Like, come on, will there seriously be no way to return to all this content you guys clearly put a lot of effort into? Whatever. It just goes to show how much detail went into this game. Like how every piece of equipment has an upgraded and weakened version. Or if you steal the bear potion from the alchemist in that one episode where you can actually transform into a bear yourself. Anyways, I just wanted to showcase this game to any watcher as well, bouncing in between video ideas and life changes. It's a fun and addictive game with creative and well-rounded core mechanics, nice cartoony artwork, and an amazing soundtrack. If you like what you see, get it. Now. It'll be everything you expect and then some. If it doesn't interest you, understandable. You likely won't like it then because, well, this is the game you'll be stuck with, but I still highly recommend it. Just remember, it's not a traditional roguelike. I'm TreyGamr58. Like, comment, subscribe, play Dicey Dungeons. If it does interest you though. So, until next time, I'll see you next time. So, see ya.